You notice that the Feast of Tabernacles forms a mirror image of the Feast of Unleavened Bread as the two longest holidays in the Messianic festival cycle. The Feast of Unleavened Bread takes place at the beginning of the year, ushering in springtime, and the Feast of Tabernacles comes just after the end of summer. Jesus explained the meaning of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, saying that leaven is doctrine, and he admonished his disciples to beware of the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. The bookends of the Feast of Unleavened Bread are Passover at the beginning, representing the Lord's atonement, and the Feast of First Fruits at the end, symbolizing the resurrection. So the meaning of the Feast of Unleavened Bread is that we need to detox from all of the contaminating influences and hypocrisy in the world so that we can be prepared for our own resurrection. The Feast of Tabernacles, on the other hand, occurs after the Feast of Trumpets, the 10 days of repentance, which lead up to the Day of Atonement, and then 5 days later is the Feast of Tabernacles. And there's actually an 8th day tacked on at the end of the Feast of Tabernacles, which is called the Great and Last Day, symbolizing the Day of Judgment. This term occurs in the Doctrine and Covenants and in the Book of Mormon, and it is used in exactly this sense, which proves that the Book of Mormon is authentically Israelite. But onto the meaning of those days of the Feast of Tabernacles. In the book of Nehemiah, the observances of the Feast of Tabernacles are described in more detail. The Lord gives the practice, and the scribe stands up. Ezra the scribe stood up and read the book of the law to them. They received the words of the Lord by feasting on his scriptures from early morning until noon every day of the Feast of Tabernacles. So here we have it that on the one hand, the Feast of Unleavened Bread is an admonition to detox from hypocrisy and uncleanness in preparation for our own resurrection, whereas the Feast of Tabernacles admonishes us to feast upon the words of Christ in preparation for the Day of Judgment. Perfect mirror image and perfect completion. We are to live by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God.